Keys of Marinus, the fifth serial of Doctor Who's first season, first broadcast in 6 parts from the 11th of April to the 16th of May 1964, and written by Terry Nation. Now, supposedly this story was originally due to happen much earlier in Doctor Who's run, but due to a reshuffle, it ended up later on. The Daleks wasn't actually supposed to happen until much later on, but due to the reshuffle they got sent in much earlier, and you could argue that the Daleks actually helped save the series from early cancellation, as the first airing of An Unearthly Child didn't actually do very well, but it was Dalek fever that actually saved Doctor Who. So anyway, Terry Nation returns for a second go at Doctor Who writing, and here we get much more of an ensemble piece between the Doctor and his companions. So the Doctor, played once again by William Hartnell, and his companions, his granddaughter, Susan Foreman, played by Carol Ann Ford, and her 2 teachers, Ian Chesterton, played by William Russell, and Barbara Wright, played by Jacqueline Hill, land on the planet of Marinus, on an island seemingly in the middle of nowhere. However, they soon discover that things aren't quite as peaceful as they would like there, especially since when Susan tries to go paddling in the rock pool, she finds her shoes destroyed because acid has seemingly eaten through them. Anyway, they make their way up to a pyramid in the middle of the island, and they find inside the pyramid is a gigantic computer known as the Conscience of Marinus, and it's maintained by a man named Arbiton, played by George Coulouris, who is the keeper. And he tells the group that the place is currently in danger. The Conscience of Marinus is also in danger, and they're under attack by mysterious creatures known as the Vord, humanoid creatures that seem to wear mysterious wetsuits with horns coming out of them. Now, I have seen there is an argument online that the Vord are sort of the forerunners of the Cybermen, or that they were a form of the Cybermen, and that Cybermen have multiple different origins, and the Vord were one of them. I don't know entirely how much that theory holds muster, but up to you. Anyway, Arbiton asks the Doctor and his companions to travel all over Marinus and find 5 keys that are needed to activate the Marinus computer, the Conscience of Marinus. And he kind of coerces them into doing this by blocking access to their TARDIS, putting a force field around the TARDIS so that they can't re-enter it. So the Doctor and the companions reluctantly agree to head off and end up encountering several different places, including the city of Morpheton, a screaming jungle, the ice caves, and the city of Millennius. Now, Morpheton is shown at first by Barbara to be this kind of idyllic place where you have people to tend to you, all of their kind of fabrics are beautiful and the like, but then when something goes wrong with Barbara and that they have sort of things placed on their heads while they sleep to make them believe that their place is idyllic. However, Barbara's one ends up falling off, and the next morning, while the Doctor, Susan and Ian all still believe the place to be idyllic and nice, Barbara sees it as a place of squalor. And ultimately they have to find a way out of that, with creatures that are trying to hypnotise humans in order to work for them and feed them and all the rest of it. Now, during their travels, they also come across 2 men who have also been sent out by Arbiton to help them. A man named Altos, played by Robin Phillips, and Sabbatha, a woman played by Catherine Schofield. Both of whom ended up getting hypnotised in the city of Morpheton and helped out. Now, also during this story, this is one case where William Hartnell went on holiday during the production of this story, so for a brief period, the Doctor heads off to the city of Millennius on his own, and the other companions have to go about finding the rest of the keys. He heads off to Millennius by himself, while Susan, Ian, Barbara, Altos and Sabbatha have to go and find the remaining ones. As I said, there's a screaming jungle, which proves rather nightmarish for Barbara and Ian as they try and find another piece there. And then when they go to the ice caves, they end up encountering a man named Vassor, played by Francis de Wolfe, who's rather duplicitous and also kind of goes about being a bit handsy with Barbara. Like he wants to stop them in their journey. He wants to make sure Ian and the rest of them all die out there. In fact, when they try and force him through the ice caves, to which there are also ice soldiers guarding the key that they need, he ends up cutting a rope bridge to stop them getting back. So he's a rather nasty man, and I'll be honest, I was kind of glad when he ultimately met his end when the ice soldiers burst into his cabin. But after the ice case, the last place they end up going is back to the city of Marinus, where they end up meeting up with the Doctor. However, Ian ends up getting charged with a crime, because the last key was in a display case, seemingly in a museum segment. However, when Ian entered, he found a man kind of dead on the floor, seemingly by bludgeoning. He was then bludgeoned on the back of the head and knocked out, and now they're charging him with the theft of the key. To which they ultimately discover that 3 members of the city, Aidan, played by Martin Court, Carla, his wife Carla, played by Fiona Walker, and Ison, played by Donald Pickering, wanted to steal the key in order to sell it off. Like, they believe they could get quite a lot of money for it. But I do also love that one of the reactions that the guards have at the very end of in the last episode, when they've got the key and they're like heading off and they use their transportation watches to kind of disappear, the guards here to go, they were there a minute ago and now they're just gone. Maybe we keep this to ourselves, because otherwise we'll be sent to Bedlam or like. And ultimately they have to come back to the kind of temple that they originally came from and find the Vord have taken over, having killed Arbiton, and they have to find a way to outsmart them. Overall, I do think this is a very good kind of companion piece. I do think it shows it works well, showing the different strengths and weaknesses of each of the companions. I mean, Susan can be shown to be a bit squeamish, but at the same time she knows how to get the job done. Barbara can be a little bit worrisome, and Ian wants to always do the right thing, but they all work together fairly well, and you do grow to care for the other people they encounter, particularly Altos and Sabbatha. And when the Doctor and Co ultimately part with them back on the beach, when they're allowed back inside the TARDIS, you do feel for these two. You want to see them do well. Overall, I think The Keys of Marinus is a pretty good story, and I'm glad I came to it. I'd been off from the first Doctor for a while, but 17th story, I've finally getting around to watching this, and you know what, I'd say The Keys of Marinus, it's definitely a good one to check out. What are your thoughts on it? Let me know down in the comments. Alright, until next time, see ya.